Hi, it's Jim Connor. We're here today at Latitude 59 in Tallinn, Estonia. This is an annual conference of entrepreneurs, investors, and the government, for that matter, in Estonia. I'm pleased to have Kasper Korgis, who is a very young director of the e-residency program.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. And so welcome to the show, Kasper. I'll ask you to give us an overview of the e-residency program.
Yes, it's a government startup program actually, where everybody can become an e-Estonian. So if you want to become e-Estonian, you have Estonian digital identity. And using that digital identity, you can, for example, establish company, bank account, and access all different digital services that Estonia can offer to you.
So how do you start this out? When you're at 18, do you go down and register with the government, or does it occur before you're 18 years old that you obtain a digital identification?
Actually, in Estonia, you get digital name before you get your other name. So if you're born in Estonia, then you get digital name. My name is 38712012796. And I get that name, and later my mother gave me name of Kasper. Because I can use the name of Kasper in physical world in many places. I can buy liquor from shop, I can travel with that name. But using my digital name, it opens up new doors. Mm-hmm. And those doors are much more interesting. That's why the digital name is much more sometimes useful to me.
Okay. So if you're born here, that's great. Now, if you, how long ago did you establish this digital naming convention?
This was in year 2000 in Estonia.
And so for people who were obviously alive and maybe adults at that time, did they apply for a digital ID?
Everybody receives digital name, as you have mandatory to have physical name, you have mandatory to have digital name. But there's nothing to be afraid of that digital name, because as my physical name Kasper, there is no use of you if you know that my name is Kasper. Yeah. So if I told you my digital name the same way, there's nothing for you to do with that digital name.
Mm-hmm. But you have all your authentication for voting, driver's license, attending university, healthcare, everything is tied to that digital name, correct?
Yes, yes. So that's the reason, because we know who we are on internet. Then Estonia government and private sector can start offering you services digitally, which makes sense, because how can you offer service if you don't know who you are?
Yeah. So this is kind of unusual. You have a government program that is offering so many services digitally. Is that because of, with the withdrawal of the influence of the Soviet Union, that you had an opportunity to start afresh with the current understanding of what was possible?
Yeah, and that's correct. And it was just cost effective. It was more cost effective to serve Estonians digitally, as the nation wasn't hugely wealthy, and then to open offices everywhere in Estonia and start serving physically.
Is there a biometric component of this digital ID? In other words, my fingerprint or something else?
So if you want to become an e-Estonian, an e-resident of Estonia, then you apply online, you pay 100 euros, and then you have this one face-to-face meeting. You meet physical Estonian embassy, and then you give fingerprints and you identify who you are, and then you receive the smart ID card, which gives the access to digital service. So then we take the biometrics, yes.
I see. So as a foreign person or a person living in another country, I can become an e-resident without much of a problem.
Yes, and you even don't need to travel to Estonia, because we have embassies internationally where you can go and have this face-to-face meeting.
What about the, shall we say, the fraud element of people who live abroad who want to use Estonia? If I can use this for maybe a tax haven or to avoid taxes or other means, they're dealing, they're money laundering, what have you.
So first of all, what we are doing at Estonia is that we are totally transforming what nation state is. When it used to be that everything is secret, everything is hidden, then e-residents and the e-Estonians, everything is transparent. It's much used to blockchain technologies. You can leave digital footprint on everything you do. So if you want to launder money or if you want to hide taxation, then it's the last place you want to be, because you leave a footprint, then we can see what you do there. And of course, if you're and if you need to pay taxes in your home countries, which you usually need to do, then of course governments are sharing that data also. So it's a very difficult place to hide anything.
Yeah. So many of your residents, I met a number of the investment people in the investment community. They love this program, and it makes business so much easier, because they start a company, they have a few founders, and they're up and running. They can connect to e-commerce services, they can ship products and so on like this. It seems to be a real contributor to the growth of the digital economy here, as well as the growth of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and we can see governments now as startups, in a sense, why one government should just serve its own citizens when the same services now can be sold to everybody.
Yeah.
So, and we can see that other governments are also now interested to follow, because eventually it doesn't matter how big is your internal market size, whether if you're German or UK who has bigger, it matters how many customers you have as a startup. So if Estonian, doesn't matter that it's so small, it matters that if it has 1 billion internet users who use Estonian business environment to run their companies, then Estonia will be the most wealthiest country, if we of course have our business model there.
Okay, now, this is a fascinating area you're getting into. It seems to me it's suggesting that you are a leader in the area here in the government. Are the other governments, such as Germany and France and UK and maybe Holland, Netherlands, cooperating, or are they trying to have their own version?
And this is a very good question, because actually e-residency is not for Estonian only, because the taxes are still paid in their countries where the business is run, and startups can offer service to e-residents from whenever they are from, and there are more companies outside Estonia who benefit from e-residency. So that's why actually governments see that this is a good thing for them also. And for example, United Nations just last week published an article promoting e-residency to Asia-Pacific area in emerging countries where there is lack of possibilities to run companies, to have access to financial services. So actually answering your question is that yes, governments see this as a partnership possibilities.
But the big opportunity seems to be in the emerging third country or emerging world.
Definitely,
correct?
because the pain level there is just higher than in Western world.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even imagine that 73%, according to World Economic Forum, of people international are financially excluded. So if you're financially excluded, you can't do business, you can't sell the goods. It's very difficult for you to actually have a better life standard.
Yeah.
So, and using that digital name, as we know who you are, and we say as a government, this is that person, then you can start offering services to them. Mm-hmm. And that's why startups, it's a great opportunity. If you're a fintech startup, you can actually start selling your service to everybody. Just they need to become e-residents, and then they can access your service. And we guarantee that they are there.
That's great. So you're if you don't mind me saying, a very young 28-year-old guy. How long ago did you start this?
I started to run that 1.5 years ago. It was a government scholarship. So Estonian government CIO Taavi Kotka, together with Siim Sikkut and Ruth Annus, proposed let's have 10 million e-Estonians. 10 million e-Estonians by 2025. Wow. And they won this as a scholarship, and they gave that scholarship to me. So I quit my job, I started to run that. And then I was 26, and of course no one knew that it has so much potential back then. But just we managed to grow the customer base, and e-residents now are actually telling us what they want, what laws we need to change, what regulations, what service we need to build, and as Prime Minister, as we heard today, are totally backing this. And then actually we are very close to have the real location-independent business environment, so that you never need to travel to Estonia or the EU, and you have all the financial and business tools you need to run your company within a day.
So this is it seems like a much greater level of a democratic engagement. All people can participate. Services are available to everybody. What do you see happening in the next 2 or 3 years in this area?
Well, definitely we can see that eventually in your pocket or mobile phone you have 7-8 different e-residences. Each country finding their own best services. Estonians perhaps are for freelancers, digital nomads to do businesses. Silicon Valley or Delaware perhaps for startups. Dutch, you mentioned Netherlands, they're very good and very progressive. So everybody finds their own things, especially Singapore and those regions. And that's good. And if the community of e-residents international are bigger, then the network effect tells that it's good for also to Estonians. So in that sense, we see and we support other governments to actually understand that having a digital name doesn't mean that you're bad big brother, and you don't need to worry about that. Just it helps people. It really helps people, and we should care about that.
I agree with you there. I do have to ask you that slightly uncomfortable question of the downside of the big brother. If you have a government that turns repressive, that turns or becomes totalitarian for that matter, is there a downside there?
Yeah, and today we have technology, but perhaps 40 years ago we didn't have. Using blockchain and cryptography, RSA 248, for example, is the cryptography of e-residency. As everything, all the data is encrypted. Even if someone would access that data, they can't see anything. And then you need to steal my card. And if you need to steal my card, you don't know PIN codes. Then you need to steal my PIN codes. If you need them, I have my card. If you steal both, then basically I can just close the card. So and I'm the owner of my data, and that's important to actually build that technology so that you don't need to trust any person on government or civil servant. You can just trust mathematics and you can trust cryptography.
I know several people who told me they were an e-resident and talked the program up quite positively before I came here. So my congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I welcome everybody to become e-residents.
Okay. Thank you for your time now. This is Jim Connor. Thank you for joining us for this segment on Game Changers X. You can follow us on our website, gamechangers.tv, Facebook, or Twitter. We look forward to your continued interest and participation in upcoming shows.